Hello and welcome back to Akasha School of Elevation. I'm Akasha and I'll be your host. Now this school is dedicated to help with the removal of the veil, covering the truth regarding the history of this planet and most importantly, how this information directly affects our current situation and our future, not only as a country but also as a planet. Now to help remove the veil, I'm simply showing that there's a veil in the first place. And I'll do this by showing you the concepts and techniques used to create the veil. I compare these concepts to be very similar to hooks. The deeper the hook, the more careful one must be when trying to remove it, because if not done carefully, it can cause more damage than good. Some techniques and concepts will be discussed here at the beginning, and the more deeply ingrained ones will be discussed as we move along. Now, the first thing that I wanted to jump into is cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is a term for the state of discomfort that's felt when two or more modes of thought contradict each other. So what does this mean in layman's terms? Let's say that you had a belief that you had your entire life, and then all of a sudden some information came out that showed that whatever you had belief in was not true. That feeling that you would get finding that out is what cognitive dissonance is. Okay, let me break it down a little bit more by giving you an example. Let's pretend that in your reality, cardinals are blue. Now, you love cardinals. You love cardinals so much that you painted your whole entire house cardinal blue. There's even a local sports team with the blue cardinals as their mascot, and you happen to be a huge fan. You've seen them at the zoo, and they were always blue. In fact, your whole life, you believed that the cardinals were blue, and you never even had a reason to doubt it or to question it. So you just assumed that they were blue, and you developed an emotional tie to the idea that cardinals are blue. Then here comes Miss Akasha saying, hey, did you know that cardinals are actually red, but they've been painted blue just to make you think that they're blue? And then you turn around and say, blasphemy! I have known cardinals my whole life. I've dealt with cardinals. In fact, I've painted my whole house cardinal blue. That's how much I like cardinals, and I know that they're blue, Miss Akasha. Plus, everybody knows that cardinals are blue. So what would make you think that cardinals are red? That's just crazy. And then Akasha responds, okay, well, have a nice day. But just in case you get curious, I'll be at the zoo washing off the cardinals, and you're welcome to join. And you respond back, shoot, she could try to tell me I know what cardinals are, but just out of curiosity. So you arrive at the zoo and you spot Miss Akasha washing off the cardinals, and you watch in horror as all the blue paint runs down to the gravel, exposing the cardinals' brilliant red feathers. So in this moment, you're left with the choice of choosing to go with the blue cardinal, which is denying what you have seen, but it's more comfortable and easy since it's what you've known, it's what you're comfortable with. This is what you've known your whole life. Or you can go with the red cardinal, which is the truth that's right in front of your face, but it's harder to deal with because it destroys what was once your foundation, and you are left having to put the pieces back together. Your whole life of belief regarding cardinals is running out as blue paint on the pavement. You suddenly start feeling uneasy, uncomfortable. You're confused, you feel betrayed, your heart feels like it done dropped to your butt, and you're groping around for the ground which feels like it's been pulled from underneath you. This is something like what cognitive dissonance can feel like. I explained all this to let you know that those feelings are likely and are a normal part of the process of what happens when what you believed is challenged by the actual reality. Now, the amount of discomfort you may feel and how long this phase lasts is all dependent on how tightly you're trying to hold on to whatever it is that needs to go. You can think of it as trying to hold on to the blade of a knife when it's being pulled away from you. Right, painful. It's all up to you. So, once we've covered the basics, we're going to begin our journey, which transcends both space and time. We'll be going far back into the human story to work to uncover the truth. Now, this tends to be the problem with us repeating the same cycle because we never go far enough back to find the root of the problem. Let's say you have a weed that you want to get rid of. You can pull the leaves, you can cut the stems, you can even cut it to where you can't see it anymore. But that weed can and probably still will come right back until you actually pull it off by the roots. Now, to get to the roots or to the root of the problem, first you have to identify the weed. Then you move the dirt away from the top of the root. And then you find and expose the main root along with its offshoots. Then firmly yank the main root, pulling all the offshoots along with it. Many of the concepts that I'm going to be covering are going to be covered in the simplest way possible, just to make it easier for you to get the bigger picture quickly due to the times that we're living in right now. For example, in this video with the weed, you see all that dirt that was moved to the side to get to the root? Well, imagine that each one of those grains are different subjects with depth to them to explore. We'll be getting into each of those grains and exploring them in the future, but for right now, I'm going to keep everything on the surface to keep it simple. So, let's get into laying this foundation. First and foremost, energy is everything, and everything is energy. This is a very crucial point to understand, one of those grains that we'll definitely be diving deeper into as we progress. I'm energy, you're energy, the couch is energy, information and thoughts are also energy. Next, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transferred or transmuted, which is another major thought we're going to be bringing up often. Next, frequency. Frequency is the rate at which something vibrates. Everything has its own frequency or rate at which he or she or it vibrates. You may not be able to see it with your eyes, but you have the capacity to feel it because you are an energetic being. Have you ever been around someone who, without them saying anything or doing anything, you just had this feeling of either liking or disliking them or their vibe? Well, that's because it's literally their vibe or their vibration that you're picking up on. And it either resonates or not with your vibe or your vibration. It is like that with everything, whether it's a person, place, or a thing, even a thought or information. It's all about how sensitive you are to those vibrations. Next, resonate. Resonate means that you're on the same frequency or that you're vibing. What I mean by this is that your own frequency will determine whether you will receive my message or not. The information chooses you, or technically, you choose each other due to being on the same frequency, because remember what I said, even information and thoughts have its own frequency. So what does it mean if something doesn't resonate? Well, it means that you're not on the same frequency, and that's okay. For some, it may sound like I'm talking out the side of my neck sometimes, or speaking an entirely different language. Trust me, I'm used to it. And to you people, I send you my love and I wish you well on your journey. And just keep it moving. Now, for others who may find that it doesn't resonate with them because of triggers, to you people, I also send my love to you and wish you well on your journey. And you can keep it moving too. Or you can use your trigger as a way to dive deeper into yourself, which can make way for elevation. How? Well, you can figure out why you were triggered. Our triggers can sometimes be opportunities for us to learn more about our inner world and often can expose neglected issues. Next, you can face those demons, or some people call it shadow work. I call it taking an honest look at yourself and your situation and accepting what needs to be accepted or fixing what needs to be fixed instead of just suppressing it. Look it straight in its face and still know to love yourself in the process. Next, after that, you'll need to do some self-healing. After shadow work, facing your demons, whatever you want to call it, you're going to need some healing. A beautiful way to do this is learning to love yourself regardless of your perceived flaws. Because flaws and all, you are still beautiful. And I say this from a very basic level. Remember how I told you everything is energy? I say it from that level. You are still a beautiful, energetic creature, regardless of your flaws. Now, after you do the self-healing, when you actually heal yourselves, you can almost guarantee that it will cause you to elevate in some way or another. That's just how it goes. And then, once you elevate, you can holler back if you want to. Or you can just be like, hey, this guy's crazy. It's gone. Okay, here's my disclaimer. If you choose the red cardinal or the truth, it has the capability to free you from mental constraints. But first, I do have to mention that you will be pissed off. This is also a normal part of the learning process once you learn all the things that's been done. It's okay to acknowledge your feelings toward the situation, but it's equally important that you refrain from staying in that place of hate or anger for too long. Hate and anger, especially when it's justified, can be very powerful because it too is energy. So, instead of trying to suppress that hate and anger, take that energy and transmute it or change it so that it can be used to benefit or uplift oneself instead of lowering one's frequency. So in other words, instead of keeping that energy as hate or anger, switch it into passion or fire behind a worthwhile endeavor, which can propel you pretty far. This is an example of transmutation, which is another concept that we're going to be diving into quite often in my school. Now, attaining certain knowledge has the ability to raise your frequency, and as you continue to rise, more information at each level will be available to you. So I welcome you to take my hand and join me on this journey of elevation to new planes as we rediscover who we are, where we came from, and our future as a people on this planet. Please like this video if it's something that resonates with you, and share with others who may be interested so that we can spread the word. And subscribe and hit that notification bell to keep up with the videos. I've listed other places where I'll be posting my videos just in case we run into issues. And if you're interested in supporting this channel financially, I've listed a Cash App link below. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.